Welcome to The Scoop with Dukes. I'm your host, Philip Dukes, aka Dukes the Scoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Dukes the Scoop. And please be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. If you have not become a member, please look in the description on this video. Scroll to the bottom, you'll see a link to become a member. It is greatly appreciated. And also, you will see a link to International Voice, where they have some of the coolest Christian gear. Is really cool, man. So make sure you go check that out. They got coffee mugs. It's a lot. They do a lot. So please go check out International Voice. All right, guys. On today's AU Scoop, I want to talk about Deuce Knight, and for a couple of reasons. One, a lot of people were hitting me about, hey, have you seen Deuce Knight's Instagram? Like, yeah, of course I've seen Deuce's Instagram. Everybody follows Deuce. And I go and I'm like, okay, I go to his story. Like, okay, cool. I don't see anything. And another guy hits me and he says, he scrubbed it. Why did Deuce scrub his Instagram? I go on Instagram. I'm like, people just scrub their gram sometimes. Then there's another Instagram post and it says, you know, is he leaving? So now I'm starting to see there's a trend. You go to the message boards and it's picking up steam that Deuce Knight may be unhappy because he scrubbed his Instagram. I think this is an overreaction. I do think that things that Deuce Knight does wish things were different, but I'm not sure that Deuce Knight is ready to pack it in right now because of his Instagram. I think that there is a chance that if Deuce Knight doesn't play at all for the remainder of the year, like even under the red shirt principles, then of course I can see a world where in this world where Deuce Knight may feel like with Jackson Arnold having another year, I can see a world where Deuce Knight would feel as if he doesn't have an opportunity. There isn't a way to play next year. But I think Deuce Knight knows who he is. I think in fall camp he proved it. I think he's gained the respect of his peers. I think he's a very, very team first guy. And I think Deuce Knight will be fine. I think Deuce Knight plays at Auburn next year. I know he loves Auburn. He loves it there. Even when Deuce was in the stands last year as a recruit, I remember maybe it was the Arkansas game. I think I saw Deuce, and just to see his smile, just to see, even in losing that game, just seeing how he tried to keep some of the troops, the future recruits, their spirits up. He's been a leader ever since he's committed to Auburn. He's been a guy. So I would say I don't feel as if right now that Instagram post is indicative of Deuce Knight imminently going to the transfer portal. That's what I would say to that. What I will say is this: could you blame him? All right, now I talked to multiple players on this team, and they really feel like Deuce at least deserves a shot, and it's not a shot at Ashton Daniels because I think they believe he has some talent. It's not a shot at Jackson Arnold, who's led them in the battle multiple times this season, but I think it's the fact that there isn't a quarterback that has the skill set, and I'd say I don't think or the potential of a Deuce Knight. We heard coming out of fall camp that there were days where Deuce Knight was clearly the best quarterback in camp, but he's young. I think that, and now with the way that we've seen the quarterback position play out this year and the last 2 years, I think fans alike would start to question Coach Freeze and his evaluation of quarterbacks, regardless of his track record with having quarterbacks who were successful in his offense. The Deuce Knight situation is a little different because you've gotten lackluster play from your starting quarterback, who's the highest paid person on your roster, rightfully so. and you bring in a guy with experience like a Ashton Daniels, who has started in Power Four football games. This is his first real week. I think that, I mean, I think as of yesterday, it felt like he could get the start. Um, but so what I am hearing is that Deuce Knight hasn't been getting those reps in order to prepare to play. I've been hearing it's been close to zero. If anybody else, now there are plenty of sources. If you hear this video, go check with other guys. The guys at 247, go check with On 3. Go check with the War Report. Check with Zach Blackerby at Locked On Auburn. See what they say. See what they're hearing. But I've heard that it's been close to zero reps for Deuce. And when it comes to playing with the ones and the twos, or at least or leading the ones with the or splitting reps with the ones in the expectation to play. I wouldn't expect to see Deuce Knight. Right now, he's your emergency quarterback. I just don't feel like you're in a position to have a guy this talented as your emergency guy. That's me personally. Now, you're trying to win games in the SEC. Your job is on the line, it seems like. Now, we know there was a report from Philip Marshall who feels like Coach Freeze is going to be Auburn's head coach regardless of how the season goes. You've heard me make mention of the DJ Lagway plan, where you have this younger guy with plenty of potential and you can play him, show what the future holds, bring him along slowly, and you don't ruin him. I can really see that as well. How many times have we seen quarterbacks thrown into the fire early and never pan out, and you always have that question in the back of your mind, was it too soon? We can even go to the NFL where so many rookie quarterbacks have been thrown into the fire based on their draft status. And you wonder if they had an opportunity to grow in the Green Bay Packers system, whether it's Aaron Rodgers under Brett Favre or whether it was Jordan Love under Aaron Rodgers, if they had time to sit and develop, what their careers have been different. So I can see both sides of the argument, but I just feel like we know the athleticism is there. From what I'm hearing from defenders and offensive players alike, Deuce has an arm unlike anyone on that team. To be able to stretch the field when you've got an Eric Singleton who can run a 4.240, you can put him in a slot, run the seam. You can put him on the outside, run a deep crosser or the over route, whatever you want to call it. And you can put a Cam Coleman on the other side and tell him, you know what, you run the corresponding route for whatever route combo you want to run. I mean, it's kind of like that when you want to see the guy with the most talented arm. Now, do I feel like he has some things that he probably needs to work on? Absolutely. Could Jackson Arnold have a better grasp of the offense? Maybe. That remains to be seen. There is a reason why Coach Freeze has Deuce as the emergency quarterback right now. I'm just not sure if that reason, based on your recent track record, how valid it could be to a lot of fans. I'm in no position to question Coach Freeze because he knows more about the quarterback position than he can forget more about the quarterback position than I'll ever learn. That's the truth, right? And let me make sure I say this because it's so easy for us to grab a microphone and be critical. So I do want to make sure I add that caveat. But with that being said, you don't have to be a 5-star trained from Le Cordon Bleu chef at the, who's trained under the best chefs in the world to know if you like the food or not. We know if we like this product or not. Announcers, commentators, podcasters, writers, you know if you like the product. You don't have to be uh, a 20-year coach. You don't have to be all SEC, former all SEC quarterback. You don't have to be, uh, a Hall of Famer to look at this offense and say that, hey, maybe you could use a spark at the quarterback position. Maybe you could get Deuce an opportunity, 5-star quarterback, and admittedly, there have been people that have said that he came in so much further ahead of where people thought he was going to be when it comes to layering the ball and developing with his throws. So what I've heard is there were people who feel like the powers on the Auburn offense, Hugh Freeze, offensive guys, that staff, maybe Deuce isn't quote unquote ready. I would like to know, what does ready consist of? That's such a blanket statement. That's like a blanket word. It can mean so much. What part? And I would love for somebody to ask Coach Freeze in a press conference one day and just say, because one thing about Coach Freeze, he's pretty good at the press conferences when it comes to answering questions. Now, the way he answers them, hey, listen, it's a mixed bag sometimes. But I think he does kind of shoot from the hip, which can be refreshed. Sometimes he does. Now, I know there's been times where people don't like what he said, but there have been times where Coach Freeze has been a little more candid. And I think I would love for someone to ask him and say, hey, Coach, Deuce Knight hasn't played. What parts of his game do you think he can improve on in order to be a viable option? Now, where can Deuce improve now for you to trust him? I think that's a valid question, because there are a lot of people in that building that feel like Deuce Knight gives you the best opportunity to win week in and week out. There are. But opinions are like, what? Everybody has them. But the opinion of the decision maker is the most important. So you drop in the comments. Drop it in the comments. Do you think Deuce Knight deserves a shot, or do you think it's best that he wait to play? Now, one caveat is you get 4 games to play. He's played in 1. He's got 3 more games that he can play in the season. Do you wait till game 9 to give him an opportunity? Preserve his red shirt. He plays after, game 9 or game 10. He plays game 10. So 10, 11, 12, and he gets the ball, and the bowl game doesn't count against you. Is that enough momentum? That remains to be seen, but that could be the plan. So I don't want this to come off like, Deuce, Freeze doesn't know what he's doing. I just have questions, as in, I would love to know what the thought process is. And that's not a right that belongs to me, right? You don't get to extract the thoughts of a coach. But if he were willing to give them, I'd be all ears. All right, guys, that's my time. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. See you guys tomorrow. All right.